We all are selling all the time. For me, every day I'm selling myself to 30 dogs. And the reason being, I cannot go in with my degrees or I cannot go in my previous work, what I've done. Every day I have to build connections. And this is what selling is about. Selling is about, I want to give you something which I know will better your life. And I come with this humbleness in me or humility in me to acknowledge that it is me who is going to gain from this. And it's a transaction both ways. Because there was a time in my life when I used to think of selling as something I was shy, I was not confident. And then I understood that I'm robbing the joy from other people. Like, let's say you gave me something today, you said that do this and your life will change, your relationship will change, or financially you will change. And if you withhold this, you are not doing a service to yourself or others. So selling humanly is about the love which you want to spread in life.
All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Sell by Being Human podcast. I'm your host, Alex Smith, and this is the podcast where we learn from people in all walks of life who sell things through the lens of human connection. I think we can learn human skills from people all around us, and this is the place where I bring the very best of those people together. And gang, this is a unique guest out of 150 plus guests. We haven't had anyone like this person on. Today, I'm joined by Samay Sam. This is someone with a pretty unique approach to working with dogs. He's worked with large groups, sometimes up to 30 to 35 dogs off of a leash to get them to follow commands and to work with him in all kinds of environments and conditions, even at night, which already tells you this is not your typical training setup. He's not your typical dog trainer. What's interesting though is his work isn't really about controlling dogs, but about building a level of trust where they actually choose to listen to him. So we've always talked to people about selling humans. So we're going to learn about what Sammy does to help be able to connect with other human beings as well. He now shares this approach through his online content. He has courses designed to, get world class results in a community where he stays closely involved and answering questions indirectly, directly with people. And what he's discovered with dogs, it goes far beyond dog training. It's into how we understand behavior, trust, and connection more broadly. Please welcome none other than Sammy Sam to the podcast. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you for that intro. Wow. Sound like a superstar with that intro.
You are,
Thank
Sam.
you,
You are,
Alex.
Sam. So, some people might see this and see, okay, dog trainer. How is a dog trainer in sales? Well, I think again, we all learn different skills on how to connect with others, and you're doing it through your business, but you're also doing it through animals. And I think some of the same skills really apply. So we're going to dig into a lot of that today. And so I'm so excited that you reach out. And I think I never think about, a dog can't talk, a dog can't communicate, but they can communicate through their behavior and nonverbal communication. And so we're gonna because what you do, I think isn't what typical dog trainers do. And I think some of those things can be transferable when we're thinking about connecting and selling, with our human skills. So, Sam, I ask every guest this. And when you think about the term sell something, but sell it by being human, what does that mean to you?
Alex, when I heard this question on your podcast, I had a deep reflection on it. And I thought this was one of those sacred questions, when if you hear, who am I? What's my purpose? And this question resonated me in those aspects that what does it mean by selling, being human? And we all are selling all the time. For me, every day I'm selling myself to 30 dogs. And the reason being, I cannot go in with my degrees or I cannot go in with my previous work, what I've done. Every day I have to build connections. And this is what selling is about. Selling is about I want to give you something which I know will better your life. And I come with this humbleness in me or humility in me to acknowledge that it is me who is going to gain from this, and it's a transaction both ways. Because there was a time in my life when I used to think of selling as something, I was shy, I was not confident. And then I understood that I'm robbing the joy from other people. Like, let's say you gave me something today, you said that do this and your life will change, your relationship will change, or financially you will change. And if you withhold this, you are not doing a service to yourself or others. So selling humanly is about the love which you want to spread in life. And this is a sacred question. I really thought of it a lot as like, wow, what a beautiful question to have.
Yeah. I love how you answer that through humbleness and humility, and it is sacred. I think we all have a different frame of reference with that question because that's why as human beings we all have a different way we see the world, right? And I love how you say humility. So tell me more where you learned that, Sam. Some of the humility that you think you possess. It probably always wasn't that way. Like you said you once thought it was, something that, maybe it was, you weren't good at or you resisted. So talk to me about like where you think you first, learned that humility.
Well, I have a masterclass every day because when we are working with dogs or any animals for that matter, the best part is who are you today? And there's no present moment, there's your presence. And your presence is going to say everything. And continuously being with dogs, I understood how authentic they are. A dog who doesn't like me, they are not shy to tell me. They want to bite my face off and they are ready for that. A dog who loves me says it to me. Me, I was even shy to smile to other people, and this was because of my conditioning. If you hear from my voice, I'm from India, so I was shy of my own color. And where is the authenticity in this? We are all human beings. We just came in this shape and form which we see. So working with dogs, I understood the best part I could be is I can be me as I am in my complete spectrum as I am. And that started changing a lot of things. That why do I want to sell? Is it because I want money? Yes, definitely I want money. And what is my relationship to money? How do I feel abundant within myself? How do I feel abundance is to share? So all these questions are now being answered much easily because I'm very happy within me. I'm never going to be perfect because as a human being, there's always a ladder to climb up, you know. So but I'm happy who I am. And that's what I learn with dogs every day, just being present. And as I say, walking in the forest first, I thought I'm going to be a great trainer. I'm going to whistle and all the dogs will come back and it's going, yeah, that is good in a controlled environment. Control works. In an environment which cannot do anything, only connection works. So that's when I understood where's my relationship? How am I connected to these beings who are just seeing me for my presence, not because of who I am as a trainer or what do I have, what degrees I have? Nothing works. So this is my kind of short answer, rather, I would say. And yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. You said you talked a lot about your presence and being in the moment in that relationship, and that's an intention that you come with every day, right? Um, and it's a non-controlled environment. You're in a forest or something like that, and 30 dogs are walking with you. They could just run off and get lost in the forest. There's so many different things that could go wrong. So talk to me a little bit about where you first learned you could connect with animals, because people listening to this like may never have seen somebody like they may just think, okay, dog trainer is you're walking dogs, right? But you go beyond that, and I sometimes see my friends, a dog's barking or something like that, and they're just like yelling, "Stop, stop," like, or just, "Hey, hey," or "Quit it, quit it, quit it," and like as if the dog can listen or something like that. And it usually doesn't do the intention of what the person does. Sometimes maybe, but you're just like, does that work or not? So tell me a little bit, like rewind how this first came into your life, because you probably had animals before you got into this. How did you realize this was something that you wanted to pursue? And when did you realize I could be good at this?
So to answer the last question, for I could be good at this. Oh, it's always you're always climbing up the ladder.
Yeah.
But what happened when I moved to Quebec in 2010? Fortunately, unfortunately, I didn't speak French, and I could see that how not being able to communicate with the language almost made a lot of people think that I'm stupid. I don't understand. Or maybe I'm not getting it right. And I could feel that nobody's going to say that to your face, but you feel that, oh my God. So when I got my first dog, and the normalcy here is about walking the dog on leash for 45 minutes. And I was like, I came from India, so our dogs, cats, goats, donkeys, cows, elephants are on the street loose. So the leash concept was new to me. And with my dog, I never used the leash. And not because I wanted to be a rebel, it was just not a concept in my being. Like, he's going to follow me. Why should he not follow me? I mean, we have a good relationship. So this thing started influencing the neighbors, everything, and I started getting more dogs to walk. So this was the business part. And then of course I started learning more courses. I started getting into more behavior studies because it's your curiosity. So I went to zoo conferences, I went in a lot of places, I read a lot of books, and I was very intrigued by what happens and how the behavior works. But of course, at the time, something in me also was liking it because at one point of time, I was trying to evade life. I was running away from life. I was in my hiding years. But when I was with dogs, it was just freedom, just kind of being there, kind of being accepted as you are. So I remember it was Christmas Eve, and I was new in South Shore, Montreal. I didn't have anything to do. So I asked my clients that, can I walk your dogs at nighttime? And because one of my clients' houses, the golf course starts at their backyard. So I
Mm.
took in all the dogs, and it was so beautiful because I couldn't see the dogs, but I knew they were with me. And yeah, of course, there's a kind of, your heart is, it's kind of an adventure, but it's also knowing you have the trust you have, that these guys are with me. So and then I realized the biggest thing is the connection I share with them. And that's how it made me understand it's not about control, it's about connection. And this is a big part in all relationships.
It's a lot of people don't, look at it as two things because they look at, okay, this is an animal, right? I can't treat an animal like a person or a human being, right? Like you can't do the same things. But at the heart of it, just any living being probably wants, you know, to be safe and to know that they're safe. That's just hardwired within us. Like I'm not an expert, right? But on animal psychology, but I'm curious, like, um, tell me a little bit about what's different that you notice about what you might do and or how, animals like interact with you. Because first I want to people to really truly understand when you heard in the beginning, Sam walks 30 or so dogs without leashes. That's just foreign. Like, okay, if I did that in New York City, those 30 dogs
Okay.
would be running all over the city and they'd be getting hit by cars.
Yeah.
But, you do it successfully and like, I don't know if you're, able to do this in places where there's cars or things like that or in cities. But tell me what's different about, just some of the things that people wouldn't even imagine happen between a human and dogs. And then we can go into kind of some of the things that you think are similar between what you're doing and connecting, because you said it's all about connection, not control. So we'll talk about what are those similar things because people might not truly think that those things can even be similar.
So there's always two factors. One is the training science factor, that is understanding the behavior. And then there is the connection factor. Now, for people with kids, okay, we know that we should positively reinforce kids, and at times we are not positive with kids also. However, what happens when your child is in some stress? Does your child come and confide in you? This is the biggest test of relationships. That means your child is feeling safe enough to come and talk to you about problems. This is the first thing we build an environment. I mean, dogs will be dogs. Wait, to a dog, a squirrel is 10 times more beautiful looking than me on any given day. On any given day, I'm not more beautiful than a squirrel. That is for sure. To my dog, hopefully not to my wife. but, but so this is a given. Now, when I call it back, why is he or she coming back? Because of the routines or the drills I have done with it. However, it should not just be the science of doing. There's a more connection. That means it's okay. I understand you will chase a squirrel. Can you come back right now? Because we have other things to do. Obviously, safety is important. I'll never walk the dogs on a street or something. uh, there have been situations where some dogs have gone off on a street and I can whistle and they come back. But that is because of the background of work I've done with that animal. I wouldn't expect an animal which I don't know to do that. The first thing when I go to any place is I see how well the environment is laid out. Because we know people with dogs, when they get out of the car, the dog will always want to jump out first, excited, barking. So it starts with if I have to go to a new place, I'm going to check out the place. I'm going to take a map of that place. Okay. Once I park the car, I make sure there's enough room in front of the eye space of the dog so he runs in a direction where I want him to go or her want to go. So environmental setup is very important. Of course, with people who are going to walk their dogs off leash in a place, always I suggest increase why the dog would come back. That means that the dog is little bit more hungry, it's not eaten at home, plus carry some nice piece of reinforcers. It could be meat if it's a border collie or a dog who likes to chase a ball or a frisbee. So you have some amount of connection with the animal. So the setup of environment is always, always, always the first thing you'll see. I'll give you an example. And how do I control them? Because I understand their behavior, and behavior is something we all display. We just need to read it properly, like they're experts on reading human facial expressions, human body language. The same way I've been with dogs around for so long that I know the slightest movements they do. Oh, okay, this is what's going on. For example, the forest has millions of trees, but when there's a new male come in, the other male will follow and pee on the same tree. Now, this is going to lead to a showdown because this is like they both want to show this is my, I'm marking it here. I can mark it higher. It's like the visiting card. So this I know it will start the engagement of each other will start at a level. I'll call both of them back. I'll reinforce and say, okay, go play. Maybe one wants to play with the ball, one will go to Sniffy. So it's always setting up the environment, understanding the behaviors first.
Yeah, so it sounds like, yeah, you're just like people, you're reading what would they respond well to, what are all the factors at play here, like just making them feel comfortable when they go out, knowing, predicting what's gonna happen. when all the different things would happen. Like you just want to make sure that they're yeah, the environment's well taken care of. I'm curious, like, so kind of drawing a link to how you like say like every day you're trying to convince dogs that you're someone safe to be around and to follow you, but it's not about control, it's about connection. Tell me what you see as similarities between dogs and humans. Like what you mentioned, like there's all behavior. So how do you look at behavior? What are the things that you are paying attention to with the dog's behavior? And how does
Yeah.
that
It's
work with
it's the same like uh, our personal relationships. They're always based on the environment which will create within ourselves. That means, are we present to the person? By present means with a just observation without judgment, because I can judge anyone based on the filters I have in my own head. Doesn't have to do anything with that person. So it's same thing with my wife when I met her. It was a slower dance than I would have liked. I'm a vibrant person. I want to get into a relationship and love me because I'm a good man. No, it doesn't work like that. I will love you when I trust you and I'll take my time. There's no rush in building relationships. And it's the same with dogs. And over the years, I've realized the first day I know so many dogs who want to tear my face off. And I always tell them, once you know me, you'll fall in love with me. So we'll take our time. Some might take a week, some might take a month, and some have taken 3 months. And my own smaller dog, which I have, he's a mix with Yorkshire and Pom. I say is a mix with Yorkshire and a skunk. So the entire first year when we got him, he was adopted, he would be sleeping separate, never showing signs that he's really kind of connected with me. And then one day I remember I was sick, so I was sleeping in the room, and he came and he slept near the door of the room. And that's when I understood that he goes at a slower pace, but he is connected. So people have this, everyone has their own pace of loving, but everyone will connect. You come in and build the environment of trust, safety, and this is what selling is about. I can only build trust and safety with you. Then you feel comfortable, you'll be buying or not. That's up to you. But first thing, the environment has to be that way.
Mm. Yeah. Very well said. I mean, even despite someone, I like that you kind of like you view someone without judgment, right? Like when a dog's barking at you, and I have like my family, and like I'm sure we could even use that you. Like I had a dog. My sister has two dogs. One's a little tiny Pomeranian, so much fun, jumps on you, wants to lick you. Then the other one, I don't know. It's like a mix of a bunch of things, and just never used to bark, but then all of a sudden they leave a leash on them all the whole time, the whole day because they, if he gets out, they can't, get them again. And so all day during the day in the house, the dog has a leash on, even if he's not being walked. So he's randomly barking. They don't know why. I'm like, just take the leash off. But he can't say that. And even if you do take off the leash, he's still barking.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious, like when dogs are like, and this is for anyone in a situation where someone's you're not getting a good vibe, maybe someone's resisting, they're just not connected to you. When someone's not connected to you, whether it's a human being or a dog, what is your first, move and how do you change that dynamic, Sammy?
I think human being, when they are not connected, is when they are not feeling safe. Now, this at the base, they are not being. Sometimes we block love. You know, there is presence of love around us. At times, due to our past experiences or due to whatever we are thinking, we'll block love. And it's same with animals. Now, if the animal is for some reason feeling afraid, feeling, let's say, aggressive, I can't change that. I'm not there to tell them this is good or bad. What I can do is work on the principles of what completes an animal like a dog. And that is physical activity, mental activity, social activity. So I bring them out, I let them be. I've actually never had an animal not change after a few repetitions of being in the forest. And believe me, for the first few days, they don't even like to come back to the van, and I have to wait patiently. Patience is something which you just develop working with animals. It doesn't work the other way. It's like simply I can have all the frustrating thoughts, but I'm going nowhere. It's just with me. So what happens? They will take their time, but that change happens. That change happens because everyone, including us, are here to experience life. And if we are here to experience life, we all want to experience the pleasantness of life. And the only thing which is blocking that pleasantness is our thoughts or our relationships. I can't change your thoughts, but I can change your relationship to mine. Okay. I can be yet coming to you with love. That doesn't mean I show you love, but the presence. And that's what I tell, just the presence. Just, okay, that's you. That's Alex. I don't know him. He's like that. Can we go for a walk? Can we do this? Can we eat well? Oh, yeah. And I start laughing with you. At one point of time, I might influence the change in how you're feeling. And then it becomes from that because this is where the presence of love is felt.
I love so much of what you just said. You know, you can't change someone's thoughts, but you can change their relationship with yours or something like that. It's like it's again, you know, we sometimes think like, you know, this is what's best for them and we know what's best and we even know a person and we can, you know, kind of change their perspective or change their thoughts. So, but at the end of the day, like it's their thoughts, it's your thought, it's someone else's thoughts and feelings, right? All we can do is change, you know, how they experience us, how their like the relationship with us. And like you said, you're not showing them love, but you're, you know, giving them the presence of it and trying to help them. You know, again, it's all you can do is be present and focus on your presence and like you said, like you're focusing on patient with the animals, maybe with clients it's someone else. But you know, talk to me a little bit like how did you start this business? Some people will be like, okay, this is a dog walking business, but you look at it something differently. How do you meet clients first and what do you do to connect with them on a human level? Because I see, you know, you're patient with dogs and you're connecting with dogs because you know them, you know what they like and playing and exercise, mental, physical, all of that. Now bring that to the clients and new client with you. What is your approach with them and how and what's similar to the approach with a new client that you have that might be similar to how you approach animals as
That
well?
it's a great question because you'll see the vulnerability in this question. Now imagine a client calls me up and says, most clients, dog owners, it's their baby. It's no longer a dog, it's a companion, which people are really attached to. So you call up this guy and you tell, and most of the times I say, if the three needs of the dogs are met, he's going to be okay. The barking is not a problem. The barking is the effect of what's going on inside. You know, if he's barking at the window, that means he's not getting a workout probably. Let's see what's going on. So how do I convince a person to give me their baby and I go and put it off leash in a forest of 175 acre with zero guarantees it's going to come back? And that is when they trust you because of your presence. They trust you because this is what you are. And I trust the dog. Once I'm ready, I know the dog is ready. And it comes both ways. It's certain dogs you feel that, but also nowadays we you can train it. You can, yes, go for a little bit of more connection, more training back. But with a client, it's always for me, it's what's the biggest situation, problem you're facing right now. And sometimes they might not need a walk. Sometimes it might be, for example, the dog is not going in the basement. And because I don't see the full spectrum of color, I'm colorblind. When I opened the door and I saw the steps going down to the basement, I couldn't see the steps because they were the same color. So immediately I said, all your dog needs to do is put the feet on the first steps and the dog will go down. So sometimes they don't need the walk. Sometimes it's just a situation. But for me, it's very important to find out everything about what's going in their life around the dog.
And you're doing that with a person, right? Like your clients. It sounds like you're asking them questions about what's going on. So it's never just okay. Like I'm sure people come to you and like, help me stop my dog from barking, or
Yeah,
help me stop my dog from
aggression.
being aggressive.
Yeah,
But you're looking beyond that because there's obviously something the dog's telling you. The barking, the aggressiveness, the behavior is just is an effect of
yeah,
some underlying issue. So just like a doctor's diagnosing, or a salesperson's trying to diagnose, what are you asking? Like if I'm a new client, what are some common things you might ask me,
mm.
um,
The fir-
to
the
understand
fir-
how to.
Thank you. The first thing after the phone call, I'd like to go and meet the client with the dog.
Okay.
Now, if the dog, typically the age of the dog will say everything. If it's a puppy, then usually the problems will be the biting, the pee pee poo poo, the tearing up of the things, and these are not problems. These are just a puppy being a puppy. So can we change the environment? Can we put some different toys? Can we make the puppy direct its chewing on something? Chewing is not a problem. Chewing the sofa is a problem. So let's direct that attention somewhere. Aggression is not a problem. I am a nice person, but if someone comes with a fist on my face, I have to be aggressive. That is not a problem. It's where it is demonstrated, how it is demonstrated. That is a problem. So, aggressive dogs, if it's a 13 or a 14-month-old, it's being a teenager like all of us. we don't know what we want. We are just, "Oh," we talk like that. It's a normal phase. Can we take it out? Yes. Do we put it in a different environment? Yes. Or if it's an older dog, then there might be some issues like pain somewhere. So it's just showing aggression to protect itself. So it depends how, but for me, it's very important to have the full picture of the dog. Sometimes just a simple visit to a vet could have triggered something. Sometimes a visit to um, what do you say, that grooming salon would have triggered something, because now fear is coming out, and fear, the best way to hide fear is aggression. It's very easy. So these things are, what is the problem, where is it stemming from, why is the person getting overwhelmed? uh, n- Depends to person also how easily the person is getting overwhelmed with something. It just depends, but it's important to understand, for me to get the full picture of what's going on.
Yeah. I liked how you said that. I mean, I think anybody listening to this can, apply it to what you're doing. Like, look at a situation, like, if you're trying to get someone to change their behavior, right? What is the problem? Where is it manifesting itself? Where is that specific thing showing up? Why is it important to fix? Or why is it, kind of, uh, why is this a problem? Why, what for them? What's happened? Like that's a question. Like what's happened recently that could potentially cause something. And you're just making a hypothesis. It's like, okay, like you said, like this could have triggered something. Well, why would it have triggered something? What's the history of the dog? Maybe they've had some abuse in the past. Maybe there's been some, you know, um, maybe how they've trained it in the past has led to certain things. You just never. Maybe they've been around certain animals. There could be so many different things, but without knowing that, like you said, I love how you said, like, aggression is a great way to mask fear.
Yeah.
I think humans do a good job of that too.
Yeah.
But when people are mad at us or resisting,
Yeah.
what you're trying to bring them, maybe it's really just a fear of failure, feel of being burned again. There's all types of fears. But there's just kind of saying, look, it's not my job to take that fear away. But I can mitigate it. I can tamp it down, right? I can do some things to make you feel safe. And that's what I hear you say if I'm reading what
And
you're
just
saying.
to interject, in human beings, aggression is always the second symptom. The
Mm.
underlying will always be sadness, fear, or anxiety in human beings. And you'll see often the most aggressive people, they are hiding something. They are sad with something. And that's what's making them react to this. So we need a more awareness for them. We need a little bit more time and love for people who are showing that.
And see, because it's easy to, react with aggression with more aggression, right?
I'll tell you a story. I always think of her and I laugh because it it's funny. We had a bulldog, Zoe, and she was nice and round. And I remember when and her owner used to cry because each time he used to go to her house and sit on the sofa, she would try to jump on my face to like tear it. And I'm like, no, you're so heavy, you can't jump that high. So I take Zoe out. I attach her in the car because with other dogs, and she was typically 15 months. So it's the teenage years going, and I can do anything. We go in the forest now. Forest, she can't attack the other dogs because they'll just run away from her. So I had Duke, and he's a mastiff mix. So here's Duke. Here's Zoe trying to lunge at Duke, and Duke thinks, oh, she's playing with me. He's also the same age. And they start playing, and it became such a wonderful thing to see because Zoe would roll like a ball playing with Duke. And all she just didn't know. All she knew was I should display aggression. And my take on that was, okay, that's too funny because you can't do anything with that. And I didn't go in with a mindset to train it out of her. I said, let me observe what goes on. And Duke started playing, and it just, after maybe not even 15 days, Zoe was completely different. Sits on my lap, eats with me, and nothing, totally different. And another point I discovered with Zoe was she would be too afraid of sounds. So maybe her aggression was coming because she was afraid itself, you know. So the the aggressive ones are the ones which will need much more love, I would say.
That's so interesting. So you think maybe because Zoe was so aggressive with Duke, but in the end, Duke was like, so little. Like you can't threaten me. And it was just or Duke was playing, but Zoe at first was like trying to dominate,
Yeah.
this bigger animal. But then after a while, it just turned into playing. And so the aggressiveness turned into joy, I
Joy.
guess. I don't know what to talk about, refer it to. But
And see, sorry, and see, this was the beauty of Duke being Duke, the presence of his energy. I'm playing with you. I don't care who you are. I'm just going to play with you. And she gave that up. Yeah. So it's beautiful to see those things. And if I'm always going with my trainer cap, oh my God, it would take me years to do anything. It will always be, oh, I should be reinforcing her right now. I should be doing this, and this didn't go well. And I would have so many ifs and structures. Let life flow. Sometimes I feel that.
yeah. So what do you refer to yourself as? Like people call you a dog trainer. What do you, think of it as if you had to describe what you do?
That's a great question. I would think of myself as I like to build relationships, whether it's with people or animals. I know I take my job as a sacred thing because I know most people, when they go out of their house and they trust me that I'm going to walk their dogs, it's the only time the dog is going to be out with me. And this is what the sacredness of relationships mean to me. And this is the whole reason that we are doing things online also, because we want to affect relationships. I mean, why am I here in this human body? There's nothing more for me to experience than the relationships, this beauty of influencing somebody's life, the beauty of touching somebody's heart. It's that I don't have a word for me, but this is what I would like to do.
Yeah. I love it, relationship you're a steward of animals, of
Okay,
animal
I'll
relationships.
write that.
Yeah. I think it's very like you use the word sacred, like that is in your soul. Like in your soul, you're really holding you honor relationships with animals and in a way that I think goes beyond just kind of making them do things like you said, going back to what you said in the very beginning, it's not about control, it's about connections. And I think when you view things through that lens, again, you think of things differently. You think of things that people may miss because it's like, okay, if this animal, this person wanted to be connected with, me because I believe like you, I think we're all yearning for that, even though we might not say it with words, just we were created to connect,
Yes.
and as the very earliest human beings are, were created to help each other. And I think, if you ask yourself, "Okay, what would someone need from me in this moment to connect? Or what would an animal need from me in this moment, to connect?" And that's different for every, you don't treat say every animal the same way. There's concepts and themes, but every animal, you have a different plan for, just like you would do with every person. So, um, I just, that's how I see it, and I hope, people take away some things that they can do. So I guess, Sammy, what advice do you have for people who may not think this way? What advice would you have to maybe use some of these skills that you use, either with their own pets, or their own animals? What's a few things or one thing that someone can do, someone with pets or animals out there?
Okay.
So what's one thing that they could do, and then what's one thing that they could learn from, this they might be able to try in their human relationships as well?
Okay. So, two things. First, our current trend is when we have a puppy or a dog, start training it. I would say training is very easy, and I'll explain you why it's easy. First, think of socializing your dog. When you have a puppy, what you want to heavily focus on is your puppy going out in the real world, meeting other dogs, other animals, if your environment is going to be with other animals, and people for sure. What we are doing is setting up a base because, excuse me for this, like human beings, dogs are social. And my quality of life is going to be directly affected how well I can communicate to other people. And it's same with your dogs. If your dog can learn to live harmoniously with other dogs, play, etc., this is being social. You can train it later on. Now, for training, let me give you an example. I ask you to work for me. Would you work for me for $100 or for $1 million? Obviously, 1 million. And this is the same with your dog. If you are in your house, you call your dog whenever you call, whistle or something neutral. We call it a neutral command. Whistle, and you give it a small piece of treat. This is what human beings do. We always control. When it's to give someone, we control. But when we want something, we want a big bonus. So once you whistle, twice you whistle, always when the dog is hungry, give a big piece of meat. It's going to register. It's called classical conditioning, operant conditioning. Comes back to you. That is done. Your dog comes back to you. The dog is safe. What else do you want from your dog? If you can make it safe, you can make it do other things. But calling back your dog to you is just about you understanding what you would work for. And you will always work for more. You'll never work for less. So the two tips are: first, training is very easy. You just set yourself up, give a very good reinforcer, high reinforcer. Secondly, always trade in socialization over training. So the first few months of your puppy has to be socialization, socialization, socialization. Training comes very easily, very, very, very easily. So that would be my advice.
Nice. What about human relationships? Like, I have a dog, it's so nice, like, uh, I call it the neighborhood dog, Tex. Tex is a pit bull, but, you would not know because this dog is,
I
like, the nicest dog in the world, never growls, never barks. You could put food in front of it, never takes your food. Comes over, knows when we're over, and like runs, wants to lick your face and come over. And like even sometimes he'll be in our backyard because he knows where the treats are. He
Yeah.
comes over and we'll give him a treat. And sometimes like, try to teach him, paw, the right paw, left paw. What are some things you do for dogs to keep them, kind of engaged and that sort of thing, and to talk with them? Obviously, it knows their name and things like that, but and then how does that relate to humans? Like some of your, I imagine some of the things you may do with your wife, and she doesn't even realize it, But these are same types of behavior skills. What are some of those before we end off here?
As in how dogs can be more social to human beings? Is that
Yes, and yeah, how do you take that to your human relationships as well?
for dogs to be more social to human beings? It's just expose them early on to different humans. And
Yes.
the ending has to be happy. That means that particular new human you have introduced, let them give some treats, let them pet them. Now, most of the time it might go right, but just like us, some dogs will not like all human beings to touch them. And that means that particular animal likes its own space, it likes its own. And we have to respect that because, again, I cannot have any presence if I go with preconcepts. It has to be like this. A dog has to be like this. No, some of the dogs don't. So many dogs which come at my home, I tell my son, he's 4 years old, stop going on him when he's on the sofa. He doesn't like it. He growls, he shows teeth, he wants to nip your hand. He's saying, no, you have to respect. The, we don't like it as human beings for any other person to tell us no. No is like, oh, my ego feels hurt. No, but he's allowed to say no. It's the part of life. And that's what we need to understand. And it's the same with human beings. You have to go to their pace because it's a relationship building. It's a give and take. Overall, you'll
Yeah,
always win when there's a give and take. For dogs with human beings, some dogs might not like the presence of humans, but if they are just synthesized, that means they are around human beings, but they don't want to bite them, that is okay. And this will come from bite inhibition also. So that's a little more detailed topic of bite inhibition, how it works. But overall, just socialize your dogs to human beings when they're young, and it's okay.
I love it. Sammy, you've been amazing. I love so many of your quotes, and we always end off on people getting to know you as a human being. So, if I asked your wife, who we met right before we clicked play, something that is just so totally Sam, maybe it's just something that only would happen to you, something that only you would do, something that is just so totally you. What would they tell me? What would she tell me about you, Sam? That
Oh, I,
is
I love surprises. I love to be childlike, not childish, childlike. I like wonder. I just love enjoying life. Anything to, and if you come with spontaneity to me that, okay, tomorrow we are going, let's say she says, okay, tomorrow we are flying to Thailand for 30 days. Oh my God, yes.
what
I would be
was
planning.
thing that
Yeah.
what was what was the last big surprise that your wife gave you?
What's the last big surprise my wife gave me? That's a good question. We've been a couple. A lot of things, I think, every day. Every day it's beautiful.
Something new.
There's
Love
nothing
it.
big of it. I can't think of some big, like, impactful, like, suddenly. But there's so many small things every day she does for me that I'm in total love with how she does things for me. I think just
Perfect.
being with me is surprising.
Per Perfect answer. I love it. Sam, Sam, where can I have people that, love pets or love connecting or learning about how you connect more with animals? Where should they go to find out more about you?
Samay Sam, that's Samay, Sam.com. And every puppy owner, there's a free tool for you all on that website, which is a sound socialization album, which we have taken pains to release all over the world. Use that, please. It's our biggest gift we can give to any person with a puppy. So you have to use it. It's for you. And yeah, samaysam.com. That's the best place to find me.
Awesome. Well, we'll put it in the show notes.
Thank you.
Sammy,
Thank
Sam, thank you so much for joining
Right.
the podcast. It's been a pleasure.
It's I thank you and I thank the listeners for having me. Thank you.